Good morning, guys, and welcome on into another episode of Picks on Net, NHL Picks and Predictions. I'm your host, Terry Edelman at TE Picks over on X, ready to break down the Saturday slate. We have a bunch of games to go over today and a lot of good spots to talk about in the NHL. So we'll do that, of course, but first we'll start the show as we normally do, breaking down the last show, which was on Thursday, starting with this game. And the Blackhawks. When I'm taking the Blackhawks, there must be a really good reason for it, because otherwise I wouldn't be betting the Blackhawks if there wasn't a good reason. And there just was a good reason here. Tampa Bay Lightning minus 315 favorites is laughable with how they played this year. Not only does Blackhawks plus 1.5 cash, they win this game outright against the Lightning. Ryan Donato, anytime goal, plus 370 cash, which I mentioned on the show. Frank Nazar scored as well. Those are the two guys to look at for the Blackhawks. Detroit and New York Islanders, unfortunately, Schaefer's point streak did come to an end. The Islanders scored 7 goals on Detroit, but Schaefer was unable to get a point. So a little bit frustrating there. Seattle, who had been absolutely dominated by Winnipeg since Seattle joined the NHL. The Kraken got the last laugh here and shut out the Jets. Scheifele obviously didn't score. And then really close one here, but the Habs falling just short, losing by 1 goal to the Oilers. Obviously, it looks like a bad day on the show. It was actually only a small losing day for me as premium plays that I had on the site. Anaheim, Utah, and I think another one, all cash. So overall on the show, a losing day. But, of course, if you listen to the other player props and stuff that I mentioned on the slate, other winners there as well. But we will jump into the chat and see what people are thinking. Morning, Terry. Hey, Mr. Brewski. How's it going? Let's go. Hi, Seaver Warner. First time I'm seeing your name in the chat. Nice to see you. Terry Board, good morning. Let's have a day. That's the plan. That is the plan. And we will jump into the first game here, which, can't believe I'm about to say this, is my favorite game of the day. So what a great way to start. The Islanders, plus 100 road dogs. Philadelphia Flyers, minus 120 home favorites, and a total of 6 here in this game. Looking at goalies, Ilya Sorokin confirmed for the Islanders. 2-3, 3.89 goals against average, 874 save percentage. No one yet announced for Philadelphia. Samuel Ersson is unconfirmed. 0-1-1, 3.87 goals against average, and an 849 save percentage. Vladar has been the better goaltender for Philadelphia so far, which is why I'm hoping that they do start Ersson here in this game. Looking at how these two teams have done against each other in the past, one-sided, the Islanders 6-1-2 in the last 9 meetings between the teams. 3 of the last 5 went over 6.5, and 3 of the last 6 went to overtime. So we're seeing a lot of close competitive games here between these teams that tend to be high scoring, and the Islanders seem to find a way to win. And I think that's the script. I think this is a close game. I think it's a high scoring one, and I think the Islanders find a way to win. But not taking the Islanders here because I have enough in this game. But I will take the over 6 at minus 115 here. Ilya Sorokin has just not played well enough so far this year. But this Islanders team, who we used to look at as kind of a defensive, boring, low-scoring team, are anything but that this year. The Islanders giving up goals, but scoring goals as well. Every single one of the Islanders games so far this year have had at least 6 goals scored. 2 of them finishing with 6, and the other 5 going over 6.5. The Flyers on the other side, They have gone over 6.5 in 4 of their 7 games this season. So they've also been a team involved in some high-scoring games. So we'll hope for goals early, and we'll hope for one of them from one of the hottest goal scorers in the NHL right now, who I got for plus 450 to score at DraftKings. Plus 380 other books. I got it for plus 450. Let's see what the odds are looking like now. Of course, I locked in all my plays, last night. So there is probably some line movement with some of the plays that I am giving out here. Let's see. Heineman now is plus 400 at DraftKings. So plus 400, plus 380, plus 370 at other spots. You're still getting fantastic value here with Heineman to score. He was involved in the trade that sent Noah Dobson to Montreal, and Heineman has fit in just perfectly here with his new team and has been scoring goals. He has a goal in 3 consecutive games, 4 of his last 5, and he scored 2 goals in the last game. So plus 450. You don't get goal scorers that have scored in 4 or 5 games for plus 450, now plus 400, but still odds very often, especially when they're on the top line with Bo Horvat and Jonathan Drouin, both who are playing very well right now. So no brainer there. And he didn't get a point in the last game for the Islanders, but I'm going right back to him here. Matthew Schaefer, over half a point at plus 110. Basically because this is plus money. Because I'm getting plus 110 for Schaefer to get a point. He's got one in 6 of his 7 NHL games so far. We'll go back to him here. To get a point in this one. Looking at other players on streaks in this game. For the Philadelphia Flyers right now, it is Tyson Foerster. Plus 110 to get a point. 3 games in a row for him. 7 of his last 8 games overall, Tyson Foerster has a point. So there's great value with him, especially in this game that I do like to be higher scoring. Kyle Palmieri, minus 118 for a point, 3 consecutive games for him. And that's basically it. Anders Lee, plus 116 for a point, 3 games in a row. So he's not doing too bad. I mentioned Heineman. Forster, I mentioned for a point, back-to-back games with a goal, plus 270 for Forster. And then assist props, Matthew Barzal, 4 games in a row with an assist, plus 110 here in the first game of the day. Good morning, Terry. Hey, Subaru, how's it going? Good morning. Going to rinse and repeat with Schaefer, Konechny, and Tippett point. Yeah, good looks. Good looks for sure. Couturier, Konechny, I believe he got a point in the last game. Tippett did not. Tippett did not get a point in the last game, but 4 of his 5 before that, he had been really good. And then Konechny, he has points in back-to-back games. So not a bad look. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. Draw spot, sadly only plus 300. Yeah, I think so. I think this could be a draw. Obviously, I'm on too many plays in this game as it is. But yeah, I think this could be a draw. There's another game where the draw numbers are so heavy that we'll get to that. But what's up, Terry? I smashed the like. Thank you, Richie. Everybody be like Richie. Hit that like button. Mishkov has been a little quiet. He's been a little bit quiet here for the Flyers. So far this year, 2 points in 7 games. So he's been a little bit quiet so far. Tony DeAngelo, point, prop, revenge game. That's a very good look. I know he did something in the last game. I believe he scored. But bear with me for a second. Let's see if I can find him. Let's see if I can find him on this list, which I can't at this moment. There he is. Yeah, he scored in the last game. Actually, he scored 2 goals in the last game. So I don't know if you can find his point prop. You'd have to look around, but not a bad look. Thanks, Terry. No problem, Subaru. No problem. But we will move on along to our next game that I'm going to be breaking down. Yes, I skipped a couple, but don't worry. I'll get to all the rest of the games at the end of the show in the rest of the games of the slate segment. But this one here, Anaheim Ducks and the Tampa Bay Lightning. Anaheim, plus 165, road dogs. The Tampa Bay Lightning, minus 200, home favorites. And a total of 6.5 here in this game. And if you watched the recap of yesterday's slate just a few minutes ago, you heard me talk about the Blackhawks and beating the Tampa Bay Lightning and how the Lightning should not be minus 315 favorites against the Blackhawks or anybody, to be honest. And I don't think the Tampa Bay Lightning should be minus 200 against anybody either. This Lightning team, I don't want to say that they're one of the worst teams in the NHL, but so far they've been one of the worst teams in the NHL. 1-4-2 on the year, 0-3 at home. This Ducks team, 4-2-1 in the season, 3-1-1 on the road. The Ducks are playing well on the road, and they found their offense the last 2 games. 12 goals the Ducks have scored over their last 2 games. And now they're coming in here facing this Tampa team that's losing games, that's not scoring goals, and just playing losing hockey. Give me the Ducks, plus 168. I think there's incredible value with the Ducks here in this game. They should not be plus 168, plus 165 in this game. The Tampa Bay Lightning, as I said in the last show, they're being priced like they would have been priced before the season started. But this isn't before the season started. This is after 7-ish games, and Tampa looks awful. It does look like Jonas Johansson will be starting. 1-1 with a 3.05 goals against average, 906 save percentage. On the other side, most likely Lucas Dostal, 2-2-1, 2.82 goals against average, 903 save percentage. Give me the Ducks. Plus 168. Quack, quack, quack. The Ducks are quacking here, and I don't think they're going to get struck by lightning as they swim around in a lake in Tampa Bay. That's my thoughts here. Looking at player props here in this game, guys on streaks. Dun, 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 dun. Shots on goal props, I don't really see a whole lot. Troy Terry has a point in 3 games in a row, minus 120. Leo Carlsson on the top line has a point back-to-back games, minus 125. Goal props, Cutter Gauthier has scored in back-to-back games. He's obviously, as I mentioned in other shows, been shooting the puck a lot, plus 260. Troy Terry has scored in back-to-back games, plus 300 for him. And then for Tampa Bay, Ryan McDonagh on the defense. Back-to-back games with a goal, plus 1,100 for McDonagh to score. So some big plus money there in that one. Assist props, nobody's overly consistent recently with assists. And the power play point, Troy Terry. Troy Terry's been one of the hottest Ducks recently for Anaheim. I'll jump into the chat here. Ducks are on a roll. Yeah, they're playing well right now. Plus 168. They're just way too big of a dog price here. Tony DeAngelo plus 200 on FanDuel for a point. Okay. That's very good odds. I like that. Very, very good odds. But we will continue on along with our next game, the Utah Mammoth and the Minnesota Wild. Utah plus 100 road dogs, the Wild minus 120 home favorites, and a total of 5.5 here in this game. Let me check starting goaltenders here. Philip Gustafson confirmed for the Wild. 2-4 with a 3.03 goals against average, 902 save percentage, one shutout. Obviously, that was the first game of the year. He was very good in that game, but since then, hasn't nearly been as strong in net for the Wild. I don't know if signing him to that long-term deal was the best idea, but I'm not the GM. Karel Vejmelka unconfirmed for Utah, 5-1 on the year with a 2.49 goals against average, but an 895 save percentage overall. And I lied to you guys. I said previously on a show that I do not bet against the Minnesota Wild. And normally, I try to avoid betting against the Minnesota Wild. However, it's about making money, and it's not about fandom. Give me Utah Mammoth money line plus 106 here in this game. Reasons being, Utah has won 5 games in a row, and they are just playing great hockey right now. They are playing strong defense. They're also scoring goals at the moment. But the Wild, they're not scoring goals right now. Struggling defensively. Just came off that 1-3-1 or 1-4-1, 1-3-1 road trip. Not playing well. And if we look at previous games between these teams, Utah went 3-0-1 against Minnesota last year. Utah's first season as a franchise. They won both games in Minnesota, and they allowed 1 goal total. The Wild scored 1 goal in their 2 home games against Utah. I could not avoid it. And trust me, if I could have avoided it, I would have. But Utah plus money here against this Wild team with how they're playing right now, I have to take Utah. So I did, plus 106. When it comes to player props in this game, the best way to go about this, in my opinion, would be to do a same game parlay here. Dylan Guenther over half a point and Logan Cooley over half a point is plus 125 at Bet365. Go that route instead of taking Guenther goal, Cooley assist separately. Because Gunther's been scoring, but he's also been assisting. Cooley just had a hat trick in the last game, so Peterka was involved as well in that line. So that line is doing very well for Utah right now. So I would parlay Guenther and Cooley both to get a point together. And then also Nick Schmaltz and Clayton Keller. If you parlay those two together, it's only minus 110. But both have been scoring, both have been assisting. It's kind of just hit or miss on what's going to happen that day. So Philip Gustafson struggling, Utah coming in here. Give me Utah money line plus 106 here in this game. Shots on goal props right now, not a whole lot of value there. Point props, I mentioned Schmaltz and Keller. 5 games in a row, 4 games in a row with a point. Guenther, 3 games in a row. Cooley, only 1, but Cooley's starting to heat up recently. Power play point props. Clayton Keller and Nick Schmaltz both have a power play point in 4 games in a row. Plus 165 for Keller, plus 210 for Schmaltz. The Wild would be smart to stay out of the box here in this game. Clayton Keller an assist in 4 games in a row, minus 120. And as you noticed, I didn't really mention a lot of Wild players because not a lot of Wild players are on streaks right now for the Wild. Kaprizov has not got a point in 3 of his last 4 games, and the Wild are not going to be winning very many games when Kaprizov is not getting a point in 3 of 4 games. I think that's all I wanted to say about this game, so we'll continue on. Point and Gensel stack. Okay. And Kaprizov anytime goal. Okay, Zay Snipes thinks he gets out of his funk. All right. Troy Terry has 5 goals in 8 games versus Tampa. There you go. I just mentioned when I broke that game down, Troy Terry is hot right now, and I guess he's hot against Tampa as well. It's sad, Terry, but I get it. Yeah. Hey, you cannot bet with your heart. You have to bet with your brain. You have to bet with your brain. That being said, though, I don't fade the Wild very often, and I do remember last year. I don't know if I did it once or a couple times, but I know when I did, unfortunately, the Wild made me pay for it with a win. But we'll see what happens here. Barrett Hayden anytime goal plus 340. 4 goals in 4 games against Gustafsson, and playing with Schmaltz and Keller, who are very hot right now. So I like that. I do. Kaprizov does have 5 goals in 9 games versus Veggie, only plus 110. I don't like what I'm seeing from him right now. I don't. But maybe coming home will help. We'll see. But the Wild, 1 goal. They scored 1 goal in 2 home games against Utah last year. So, and Utah was not playing nearly as well defensively last year as they are this year. But we'll continue on along with our next game, the Vegas Golden Knights and the Florida Panthers. Of course, I have to talk about this game, one of the games of the night. Vegas minus 115, road favorites. The Panthers minus 105, home dogs, and a total of 6 here in this one. Let me do a quick refresh with goalies, as we probably having some info coming in here during the show. Sergei Bobrovsky confirmed for Florida, 4-3 with a 2.61 goals against average, 893 save percentage. Akira Schmid unconfirmed, 4-0-0, 2.57 goals against average and an 899 save percentage. So Akira Schmid has done exactly what Vegas wants him to do. He's won all 4 of his starts. So having success there. Looking at previous meetings between these teams, Florida 3-1 in the last 4, 2-2-1 to a total of 6. So 2 overs, 2 unders, 1 game finished with 6 goals. I don't really see an edge here when it comes to the total. Vegas an over team right now. Florida more of an under team. I think Vegas wins. I kind of lean towards Vegas at minus 115 here in this game, but did not pull the trigger on that. Looking at player props, right now, if you're going to do player props, kind of like the Utah game I just mentioned, the best way to go about this, I think, would be to parlay Pavel Dorofeyev and Mitch Marner both together to get a point, plus 115. Or you could do Marner with Hurdle, or you could do Dorofeyev with Hurdle. Basically, that second line, I think, is going to do very well for the Vegas Golden Knights. Hurdle has a point in 4 consecutive games, and 5 of his last 6. He has a point, minus 132 for a point, so no value there. But as I said, Mitch Marner has he has 2 points in 4 games in a row. And in 5 of 7 games this year, he has 2 points. And then obviously Pavel Dorofeyev, Skorofeyev, the goal scorer on that line. If you wanted to take him for a goal, or if you wanted to put him in a parlay with Marner or Hurdle, that would be a good look. And then Jack Eichel, I would be mistaken to not mention him. He has scored in 5 of 7 games this year, the same as Pavel Skorofeyev. So I would look at Eichel as well. Yes, no Mark Stone. He is still has Barbashev, who's been doing well as well. Barbashev has scored in back-to-back games, but he has a point in 4 games in a row as well for Vegas. So if I'm looking at Vegas props, I'm looking at one of those 2 lines. I'm looking at Eichel and Barbashev, and I'm looking at the Hurdle, Skorofeyev, and Marner line. The other player that is playing with Barbashev and Jack Eichel is Brandon Saad. So if you wanted to look at Saad props, maybe you could do that as well here in this game. And when it comes to Florida, not scoring a whole lot, Brad Marchand and Anton Lundell are heating up, though. Lundell a point in 6 of his last 8 games for the Panthers. And then Marchand, he has a point in 7 of 8 games this year. So, or sorry, 7 of his last 8 games. 7 of 9 this year. But back-to-back games with 2 points for Brad Marchand. So he is heating up for the Florida Panthers. But we'll jump into the chat. I like Hayden tonight, but not for goals. All right. Yeah, hey, it's plus 340 for a goal. So that means he could get his point prop if it's available, of course, at a much, much better price. Or sorry, still at a plus price. So there's value there. But we'll continue on along. Here I have 4 more games that I want to break down, and then we'll get to the rest of the games on the slate. Montreal Canadiens and the Vancouver Canucks. The Habs, minus 105. Road Dogs. The Canucks, minus 115. Home favorites. And a total of 6 here in this one. Let's see what's going on for goalies, if we have any information. If I can find this game, which for some reason I can't. I don't know why. Oh, there it is. No goalies confirmed yet. Jakub Dobeš, 4-0-0 for the Habs, a 1.47 goals against average, and a 950 save percentage. Really, really, really good numbers. It's pretty good that they gave him the backup job and not Kaapo Kähkönen. And Montembeault, who lost in that game against Edmonton, giving up, six goals? Should keep an eye out for Dobeš here, who could potentially steal his starting job. Demko, 3-2 on the season, 2.24 goals against average, 927 save percentage. So Demko, if he does play, has been very good for the Vancouver Canucks. Kind of lean towards the under here. I kind of think this is going to be a lower scoring game. The Vancouver Canucks back-to-back games, they've only scored 1 goal. So the offense hasn't been super strong for Vancouver lately. But if we look at previous meetings between these teams, Montreal won both games last year between the teams, but the Canucks won 5 of the previous 6. So the Canucks had been rolling against this Habs team, having no issues playing them, and then last year lost both games. And Montreal is a team where you can expect stats like that with previous history because the Habs have been a rebuilding team, but now they are really starting to improve. So they're going to start to beat teams that they've struggled against. We'll see if they beat the Wild. That's a team that they've really struggled against. We'll get to that when the teams eventually play. Previous games between the teams, 5 overs, 1 under, 1 game finished with 6 goals in the last 7 meetings. High-scoring games. So that's enough to keep me off the under. Looking at this game here, Nick Suzuki over half a point and Lane Hudson over half a point, plus 105. I think that is a good route to go here. Those 2 players have been extremely hot for the Montreal Canadiens. Looking at shots on goal props, not much value there. Point props, Lane Hudson 3 games in a row, but minus 150. Not a lot of value with his prop as a single play. Max Sasson for the Vancouver Canucks. He's scored in 3 of the last 5 games for the Canucks. He's plus 575. He's been a guy I've been noticing. He's scored for the Canucks in games, so keep an eye on him. Cole Caulfield scored in the last game. Didn't score before that when I took him, but it's okay. I forgive him. Assist props, Suzuki, Hudson, both minus 140, minus 135. So there's just not a lot of value with props here in this game. And in a game where I kind of lean towards the under, nothing here from me in this game. What's going on with the Wild? Well, they had a tough road trip. And just not playing the best right now. That's basically it. Not scoring goals. They're not scoring goals. But moving on along to our next game, the Columbus Blue Jackets and the Pittsburgh Penguins here. Columbus plus 100 road dogs. The Penguins minus 120 home favorites. And a total of 6. 2.5 here in this game. Looking at goalies here for this one to see if we haven't. Should be Elvis Merzlikins here for Columbus, and then Tristan Jarry unconfirmed for Pittsburgh. And both goalies, Merzlikins and Jarry, if this was before the season started, I don't think people would have thought that both goalies would have Merzlikins 2.68 goals against average, 2.51 for Jarry, and a 927 save percentage for Merzlikins and a 921 save percentage for Jarry. Both goalies are playing very well, which I think is a surprise so far this year. When I look at this game here, Columbus has won 3 of the last 4 meetings. Pittsburgh had done very well previous to that. 6 of the last 7 have gone over 6.5 between these teams. So we have seen very high scoring games between these two. It's a 6.5 here. Ultimately, I don't have any plays, but one I've been looking at since last night, and I'm close to pulling the trigger on it, is Sidney Crosby anytime goal here in this game. Crosby has scored in 4 games in a row, 2 goals in the last game against Florida. He's around plus 170, plus 175 to score right now on a 4-game goal streak. I do like him to score here. What I don't like is the amount of times he's been shooting the puck. So over the last 4 games, which he scored in each game, the first game, 1 shot, 1 goal. The second game, 1 shot, 1 goal. The third game, 1 shot, 1 goal. And then in the last game, 2 shots and 2 goals. So basically, Crosby is scoring on any shot that he shoots over the last 4 games, but he's only shot the puck 5 times. So that's not going to continue forever, but it could against this Columbus team. So when I look at this game here, Sidney Crosby, Sidney Crosby, Sidney Crosby. I don't know if you want to parlay his point prop with somebody else here, like Ricard Raquel, who's on a point streak. You could do that. Let's see what their points together would look like. Plus 100 at Bet365 for those two to get a point. Malkin has also been really good for the Penguins as well, but I will mention those other point streaks. So Raquel, 5-game point streak, and Malkin, a 5-game point streak. Crosby, a 5-game point streak, but all minus 160, minus 150, minus 200. So not single plays in my opinion, but good parlay pieces. Dmitry Voronkov, a point, 3 games in a row for Columbus. He's been very noticeable for the Jackets this year, plus 120. As I said, Crosby scored in 4 games in a row. Former Wild player Connor Dewar has scored in back-to-back games for the Penguins. He's plus 850. And then Denton Matejchuk for the Columbus Blue Jackets, a defenseman. He's scored in back-to-back games. He's plus 1,200 here in this game. So some value and props here in this one, but at the moment, I've not got to anything here in this one. Josh Anderson plus 600 anytime goal, 5 goals in 8 games versus Demko. Okay, very interesting. And Sydney has 7 goals in 11 games versus Elvis. Jonathan Davis trying to force my hand, into betting a Crosby goal because I lean on it so heavy already. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if I get there, but I'm trying to be lower volume. I still have a lot of plays. So Voronkov plus 275 anytime goal, 3 goals in 4 games versus Jarry. All right. So if that is the goaltending matchup, you want to go with the hot hands. You want to go with the hot hands right now because they also have success against those goalies. But 2 more games left, and then I'll get to the rest of the games on the slate. The Carolina Hurricanes minus 105 and the Dallas Stars minus 115. A lot of games here where we have kind of pretty much pick'em games. So great for money line bettors today's slate. A total 6 here, minus 110 each way in this one. No goaltenders confirmed. Frederik Andersen, Jake Onger, both unconfirmed. Andersen 4-1, 2.72 goals against average, 901 save percentage. Onger struggling, 3-2-1 on the season, 3.14 goals against average, 894 save percentage here in this one. And as I mentioned in previous games, the two players to look at here are Seth Jarvis and Sebastian Aho. Now, if you parlay the two together, I believe it was minus 125. So not the best value there. But if you add Nikolai Ehlers, who's on that line and who has a point in back-to-back games and is starting to heat up, it's plus 150. If you didn't want to add Ehlers, I would look at Wyatt Johnston for the Dallas Stars, which would really bump up the odds there in that same game parlay. Sebastian Aho, Seth Jarvis both have a point in 10 consecutive games going back to last year. So I would look at both of those guys. Sebastian Aho, usually more of the assister. He scored in back-to-back games. Jarvis scored in the last game. Back-to-back games for an assist with Jarvis. None for Aho in the last two games, but he had an assist in 5 previous games before that. So Jarvis, Aho, I expect both to get points. Whether it's goal, assist, I'm not sure. So honestly, I would parlay the two together here. When I look at the side in this game, I don't know. I really don't know. Carolina 4-2 in the last 6 between the teams. Dallas isn't playing all that well right now, but Carolina's on a long road trip. I believe this is probably close to the end of it. So maybe a draw, but player props could be the way to go here in this game. Malkin has been good. Yes, he's been very noticeable. And people are thinking, is he going to be traded to Florida? Florida needs somebody. Florida needs a center. Barkov is out for the playoffs. We could see Malkin head to Florida at the trade deadline. Unless the Penguins are playing well like they are right now. But I'm not sure it continues all year long. Canes, of course. I don't know about of course, Richie, but yeah, your Stars are struggling right now. But they're not going to struggle forever. It will end. Stankoven plus 370 anytime goal, revenge game. That's very interesting. That is very interesting. Guess you could look at Rantanen as well in that kind of situation here. Looking at Stankoven, point against Colorado in his last game, 3 previous games without a point, so he hasn't really been super consistent, but plus 158 for a point, so is some good value there with him. Canes' first goal. Okay, so Richie thinks the Canes get the first goal. But final game on the slate tonight, and then I'll get to the rest of the games on the slate. Edmonton Oilers, minus 180. Road favorites, the Seattle Kraken, plus 150. Home dogs, and a total of 6 here in this game. Both goalies unconfirmed. Stuart Skinner and Joey Daccord, both unconfirmed here for this one. Both are previous pretty good numbers. Skinner, 2.16 goals against average, 908 save percentage. Joey Daccord, 2.56 goals against average, 910 save percentage. So both goalies have played pretty well so far this season. And looking at this game in the previous games between the teams, very one-sided. So these teams have played each other 15 times since Seattle joined the NHL. Edmonton has won 12 of them. They're 12-3 against the Kraken. And we've seen not as much in more recent games, but especially early on, we saw a lot of overs between these teams. But if you look at the 15 games and a total of 6, 10 overs, 2 unders, and 3 pushes. They finished with 6. So this has been a very high-scoring series, and the Oilers finding a way to finish on top. Maybe the Oilers team total could be a good play. The over 6 could be a good play here. Oilers money line at minus 180. I wouldn't look at personally. And And I don't know if you want to go with Oilers in regulation, but you could look that way as well. Point props. Jake Wallman, a point in 3 consecutive games, back-to-back games this year. And wow, if you look at it, going back to last year, 8 of his last 10 games, he has a point going back to last year. And plus 161 to get a point. So great value with Jake Wallman. For the Kraken, one of their hottest players so far this year has been Jaden Schwartz. 3 points in the last game. He is a point in 8 of his last 10 games going back to last year, plus 103 to get a point for Schwartz. Matthias Ekholm has a point in 3 games in a row. He's plus 143. So there could be some value there. Goal scoring streaks right now. Jaden Schwartz, back-to-back games with a goal, plus 290. There. Connor McDavid, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins both have a power play point in back-to-back games. Plus 105 for McDavid, plus 210 for Nugent-Hopkins. And Matthias Ekholm has an assist in 3 games in a row for Edmonton, plus 182. So there are some other players on streaks here in this game. Man, I'm late. Hey, it's okay, Boog. It's okay. Logan Cooley, anytime goal. He played for the University of Minnesota. There you go. There you go. Like I said, I like Cooley and Gunther both to get a point parlay together. So there's good value there. Jaden Schwartz has 20 goals in 35 games. Well, he's played them a lot. Versus Edmonton, 4 and 9 versus both Pickard and Skinner. Wow. That's really interesting that he has the same number against both. But other games on the slate, ones that I did not break down. Bear with me for a second. Colorado and Boston. The Bruins, 6-1-1 in the last 8 games between the teams. 3 of the last 5 going over 6.5. So we've seen some higher scoring games, usually with Boston finding a way to win. Now, I don't know if that happens here in this one. Goalies, Trent Miner, unconfirmed for Colorado, and Jeremy Swayman, unconfirmed for Boston. Looking at guys on streaks in that game, Pavel Zacha, he's been the hottest Bruin this year. 3 games in a row with a point, plus 104. Martin Necas, 3 games in a row with a goal, plus 170. Morgan Geekie, back-to-back games with a goal, plus 250. Zacha assist prop, 3 games in a row, plus 170. There is some value there. Next up, Buffalo and Toronto. These 2 teams just facing each other yesterday and now facing each other again here in this one. And let me bring up the odds here for this game. Wasn't originally going to get involved here. Sabres plus 125, road dogs. Toronto minus 150, home favorites, and a total of 6.5. However, Caden Primo confirmed for Toronto. 1-0-0 with a 4.0 goals against average and an 867 save percentage. I think the Sabres are going to score some goals here in this game. I looked at Buffalo team total. The 2.5, I think, was minus 170. So maybe the 3.5, I think that was like plus 160 or something crazy like that. I think Buffalo is going to score some goals here in this game. They won 5-3 against Toronto in their last game. And if you look at Buffalo right now, 8-4 win against Ottawa, 3-0 against Florida, 4-2 loss against Montreal, but 4-2 win against Detroit, 5-3 win against Toronto. However, those wins were all at home. Sabres 0-2 on the road. The Leafs, 5-3 loss to Buffalo, 5-2 loss to New Jersey, 4-3 overtime loss to Seattle. So the Leafs have lost 3 of their last 4, and 4 of their last 5 have gone over 6.5. So I think we get goals in Buffalo, Toronto. If you want to look at player props, you can do that. Let's see. Zach Benson, he's been hot for the Bruins. For the Sabres this year, minus 110 to get a point. He has 1 in 4 of 5 games. Nylander is undisclosed injury day-to-day. He may play tonight. His status is up in the air. So there you go. Alex Tuck back-to-back games with a point, minus 120. Ryan McLeod, Bowen Byram, both for the Sabres. Back-to-back games with a point, plus 135 for McLeod, plus 203 for Bowen Byram. Alex Tuck has scored in back-to-back games for the Sabres, plus 260. And then assist props, nobody's really on a huge streak. Benson, 4 or 5 games, plus 160. Oliver Ekman-Larsson, 4 of his last 5 games, he has an assist, plus 180. So there's some value there. I think we get goals in that one. St. Louis, Detroit. St. Louis 3-2 in the last 5 meetings, 3 of the last 5 going over 6.5. I have really no thoughts on that game. I really don't have much thoughts. That's why I did not break it down. Binnington unconfirmed. John Gibson likely for Detroit. Detroit starting to come back down to earth here after a really hot start. St. Louis Blues, not a team I trust, but ultimately going to stay off that game. But looking at player props that are guys that are on streaks. Dylan Larkin, 8-game point streak. Obviously, minus 190. You'd have to parlay him with something. Jordan Kyrou, 5-game point streak for St. Louis, minus 125. Goal streaks, nobody really on any big streaks there. Assist streaks, Kyrou back-to-back games, plus 190. Kyrou an assist in 4 of his last 5 games. So Kyrou assist, probably a good look here in this game. And Ottawa, Washington. The Senators 6-1-3 in the last 10 games between the teams. 5 of the last 7 going over 6.5, and 10 of the last 15 going over 6.5. So we've seen very high scoring games between Ottawa, Washington, and we've also seen overtime. 4 games in a row between the Sens and the Capitals have gone to overtime, and 6 of the last 8 games between these teams has gone to overtime. That's the game I mentioned earlier. Very, very heavy draw history between the Sens and the Caps. Also very heavy over history in that game. But no plays for me. That's one of the games that played last night, so I didn't really get a chance to look at it yet. I'll be looking at it actually after the show. But that being said, LA Nashville, the only other game I didn't break down, and you can probably guess why. I don't want any part in that game. Nashville 5-2-1 in the last 8 meetings. No overs, 6 unders, 1 game finished with 6 goals. Back-to-back games between those 2 teams went to overtime. But going back to the last game, I didn't mention player props. Tom Wilson a point 5 games in a row. Same with John Carlson. John Carlson to get a point is plus 104. Wow. Minus 105 in other spots. I'm going to be adding that. Let me write it down. Carlson point. What does the assist look like? Assist is plus 125, and he's done that in 4 or 5 games. Yeah, we're going to go with assist. Carlson assist, plus 125. You guys are getting an extra play. I'm adding that after the show is done because just such great value with Carlson. Senators have given up the most goals this year. I think they still have that record to their name, unless they have been giving up a little bit less lately, but I think we got a high-scoring game here. Assist props, Dylan Strome, 5 games in a row. Ovechkin, Carlson, back-to-back games. Alexei Protas, back-to-back games with an assist. And then in the final game that I quickly mentioned, Fiala, 5-game point streak. Kempe, O'Reilly, 3-game point streaks. Kempe scored in back-to-back games. And Kempe has an assist in 3 games in a row. So if you're looking at props in that LA-Nashville game, you kind of want to look at Kempe in some fashion. But that is today's show. Make sure to like and subscribe button. If you want all my premium plays, become a member on the YouTube channel, $4.99 a month. Gets you early access to videos, but you get my entire betting card on Saturdays. So when the show is done, I'll be going and posting my whole betting card, including premium plays for members only on the YouTube channel, $4.99 a month. Become a member, help keep the channel going, and as well get early access to videos and access to all my premium plays on today's slate. But that is it here. Let me see. I wanted to check on how many games we have tomorrow in the NHL. Whoa. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's a little bit unusual. Okay, well, there you go. I didn't do a show yesterday, so guess what? You guys are getting a Sunday show. So stay tuned to tomorrow, most likely tomorrow morning, a Sunday Picks on Net. So there we go. But other than that, we will jump into the chat. Great informative show today. Thank you, Hal. I try to throw in all that information to you guys that I can. I try to give you guys all the info that I can. I bet the draw in the Canes game. I could see that. Primo games and over machine. Yep. Team total over for Buffalo, over 6.5. Yeah. A 5 p.m. Eastern start game because of the Jays. Yes. A little bit earlier. I really lean that way. Nylander, question mark. I believe he's injured. Yes, he's a game. He's a game time decision. So we don't know. He could play. He's not ruled out from playing. Matthews has 29 goals in 29 games for Buffalo. All right. With Riley out, OEL is a good point. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Riley's out. Yeah, he's been good for them. Larkin to score first Detroit goal plus 550 is cashed in 4 times this season. Okay. Charles is tailing something. Not sure if it's me or if it's Jonathan Davis, but I gave you so much information. Who knows what he's tailing, but that's okay. Ridley Gregg, 2 goals in 2 games versus Lindgren. Pinto, 5 goals in 8 games versus Washington. Wilson is 6 goals in 11 games versus Allmark. Okay. Parlay, Pinto, and Dorofeyev, Eichel, anytime goal of the boys. Don't hate it. I don't hate it. But that's today's show. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. As I said, become a member. Where do you send the $4.99? On YouTube here, there's a section to become a member. And you just click on it. Bear with me for a second. I can't open it while the show is on. But on YouTube here, there's a section to become a member or go to the membership section on the YouTube. $4.99 a month. And you get access to all my premium plays on Saturdays. So thank you guys for watching. Best of luck on today's slate. And we'll see you guys back tomorrow for a Sunday edition of Picks on Net, NHL Picks and Predictions. Best of luck, guys.